This is the story of Harry and Norah Everhart. Call of the Sea. Here we go. We're going to take a moment, look at the opening of the game because it's beautiful and it's amazing and it sets the tone. Here we go. I'll be right back.
I hope it too. I'll see you in 3 days then.
Please be careful on that island. You know what the legends say about it.
I'll take care. Thank you, Captain Hodgson. Well, here I am, in the middle of the ocean after traveling across half the world. Just miles away from where my husband is supposed to be. You left a year ago to search for a cure for my affliction. Your letters kept me close to you, but suddenly they stopped coming. What happened, Opal? What did you find? Whatever it was, it led you to hire a crew and set sail from San Francisco to Tahiti. And from there to this place, an island in the middle of the Pacific that the locals refuse to even name. Everything is familiar. So familiar. As impossible as that may sound. Is this the island I dreamed about? This can't be a coincidence.
Call of the Sea. I'm going to go ahead and read really fast the description of Call of the Sea that is on calloftheseagame.com. This is the website for the game and the developers. And this is their description of this game. Call of the Sea is a first-person adventure puzzle game set in the 1930s that tells the story of Norah, a woman on the trail of her missing husband's expedition. The search takes place on a strange but beautiful island in the South Pacific, filled with secrets waiting to be unearthed. It is an otherworldly tale of mystery, adventure, and self-discovery. And that is a great description of this game because that is precise. It is full of super good, super fun puzzles that progressively get more difficult as you move through the game and as you discover more about Norah. She is discovering the self-discovery aspect of this game is what it's all about. She's discovering who she is and where she came from. She has a horrible disease that is killing her. Her mother died from this disease. Her grandfather died from this disease. She gets feverish. She's very, very weak. She has to walk with a cane. And she has these crazy spots on her hands that she wears gloves all the time to cover up her hands so she doesn't get a lot of questions about what's going on with her because she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Harry doesn't know. But Harry is determined for her to live. Harry is determined that she is going to survive if he can in any way, shape, or form make that happen. So that's where we start. We start where Harry has gone off trying to find a cure for Norah to keep her alive. He has been gone a year, an entire year, and she has tracked down where he was last that anybody knew, and that's where she's at. She's at this island in the South Pacific. But how did we get there? How did we get to that point? Well, let's go in and look at the game itself, the story specifically. So this story is written in a Lovecraftian style. It's not a horror game. The developers are very quick to say that this is not a Lovecraft horror game, but it is written in a Lovecraftian style, meaning you have to follow stories, you have to follow notes that you find, recordings that you find, things like that to get the next part of the story and to know where you need to go and what's happening. And you don't have a clear idea of what's going on. You just get bits and pieces and you start to get an idea of what's going on. And it has a really good ability at creating a feeling of predestined fate, meaning Norah was meant to be here. Harry was meant to be here. All of them were meant to be here for her to discover things about herself that she did not know.
Wow, really old.
Moving on, Harry and Norah, because I did dig into their past and their history, because this is huge. This is huge. Who goes out for an expedition goes into massive effort to get the money to go to an expedition, following clues, following artifacts that are at universities, following her music box that her mother gave her that was very specific in its symbols, the symbols on the music box that actually tied back to other archaeological artifacts at universities and things. And he followed all these leads across the country so that he could get the information he needed, which, by the way, all of the symbols on these artifacts were pointing towards the South Pacific. That's how we ended up here. The natives on these islands and things used these symbols, and that's how Harry ended up here. That's how Norah ended up here following him. So anyway, he's going across the country getting this information, which, when he is at one of the universities, he does run into a dermatologist, a renowned dermatologist, who takes a look at the pictures of Norah and states, and this is a huge clue. Don't listen if you don't want to know. But a huge clue is that he looked at her photos and discovered that her disorder looked very similar to genetic alteration and general mutations of different fish species. So, huge hint. If you didn't see the music box, there's another hint. So, anyway, going on to Harry and Norah. I wanted to look into their relationship because that's a huge deal for Harry to do, and to be away from it for a year from a wife that he knows is deathly ill. That's a huge leap of faith for him, that he knows he has to do this. He has to do this for her. And eventually she goes looking for him, so she's not well. You know, just the fact that he's willing to stay away for a year to try to find this cure just shows how committed to it he was, and how committed he was to saving her life, which is incredibly sweet. So, looking into it, they met when Harry was in law school. So he was in school. They were young. And they met at a party that was thrown by his sister. And they danced to Dear Old Pal of Mine. And that was also when they had their first kiss. So, throughout the game, you'll hear them call each other pal, dear old pal. And I thought that was strange at first, because I was like, are these people actually married? And even in the game, it becomes a running joke, because some of his coworkers, it's mentioned or stated that some of his coworkers joked, thinking, you know, and asking them, are you really married? Because you're just calling each other pals and buddies and things like that. But it was just an inside love joke for the most part, because that was the song they first danced to. That was the song they first kissed to. That's what the song they met to. So that's why they call each other this. It's actually a loving, sweet, inside kind of joke for them. So it's very sweet. It's very sweet. Anyway, they got together and eventually got married. However, Harry comes from apparently in a very wealthy, high social status. You know, they have socialites in their family. They're in the newspaper, in the social scene, back in the 30s. And Norah came from nothing. Norah had no money. Norah came from not a well-known family, obviously. Was not known at all. And his parents were very unhappy with this. Very unhappy that this is who he chose to marry. And they pretty much would help him with nothing. When he decided to go on this expedition and found out where he needed to go, one of the first places he went to try and get money was to his parents, because clearly they have it. Of course, they said no. They turned him down and apparently were very condescending about it, and were horrible to him. regarding it. So he was upset and went off, and somewhere along the way, a reporter heard the story of what he was doing and what he was looking for and why he was looking for it. And she decided to help him. She decided to help him gather up money for the expedition. And of course, she wanted to go. She wanted to go on this expedition to write about it, to write about the story, because it's an amazing story. A man out to save his ailing wife, going on a massive expedition to the South Pacific to an island that nobody ever really goes to. What reporter in the 30s isn't going to want to write about that? That's an amazing story. So she signs on, helps him meet with different people to try and get financial backing to fund the expedition. Eventually they get that funding, and on the way to San Francisco, which is where they need to go to get on the ship to head to the island, they gather up their crew. They gather up a mechanic on the way, and they gather up a stuntman on the way, and the stuntman was there just to help run around the island, like the physical heavy lifter, basically. That's what he was there for. So they get their crew together, they get on the ship, they go. It's a year later, and here we are. We are Norah chasing down beloved Harry, trying to find out what happened to him. And I'm not going to go into everything that happens in the game, because I specifically wanted to focus on Norah and Harry, because the story is amazing. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And it's a beautiful story. It honestly and truly is. And it's all told through notes and letters and recordings that you find. You find absolutely nothing of them speaking to each other. Please watch the game all the way through to the very end, through the credits, because the recording at the end is amazing. And it's beautiful and it's lovely. And it fits this couple so well. So if you sit through the credits, I promise you won't be disappointed. I will say this. At the end of the game, you will have a choice to make. Save before you make your choice, because that's what I did. I was very happy I did, because I could go back and do multiple choices, and I was happy I did, because I got to see how each choice I made played out, which was nice, because I really wanted to know how each one went. So with that, I will please ask you, what do you think of Harry and Norah? What do you think of Call of the Sea? Have you seen it? Have you played it? Have you read all the notes? Have you looked at their relationship? Have you looked at how the game ends? How the story ends? How Harry and Norah end? What do you think? Please also think about hitting that subscribe and like, but mostly I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your opinions on this game and on this story, because I think it's an amazing one. It's a very short game. It took me 2 days of playing to finish it, but it was very good. I highly recommend it. I would play it again, to be completely honest. I thought it was great. Visually, it's stunning. And like I said, I love the couple. I love the couple and I love the story. So with that, I will say good day, sir. No, I'm kidding. I will talk to you later, and I hope you all have a fabulous day or night or morning, wherever you're at. And I will see you in the next video.